Good morning and welcome everybody. My name is Teresa Shaver. I'm the Executive Director of the Business Advisory Center Durham. And we welcome everybody here this morning. Glad to see so many people. So if anybody doesn't know about BACD, I'm going to just use this opportunity to talk a little bit about it. We are a local not-for-profit. We've been around 20 years serving entrepreneurs and budding entrepreneurs who want to get started in their businesses. Our role is to help them achieve business success. When they do so, then they spend money in our community and make our community wealthy. They bring money into the community. They support local businesses. And then last but not least, Frank is also a sponsor and helps us put all the speakers together. I say Frank will last because he's going to come up and steal the show.
Hey, good morning. Happy day. Isn't it International Happy Day? Yes, it is. So I'm so happy to see you. So first of all, I want to thank you guys again for being out here today. We know you have a choice, and so we're very happy that you chose to be with us today. It's our 21st edition. And it's been running for 3 years. And obviously it couldn't be possible without you. What this really is about is just hearing people's stories, getting inspired but by their highs and the lows, and hopefully applying some of those ideas and strategies that worked for Town Brewery to your own business, okay? Also, I wanted to give a shout out in the back of the room. Those guys are going to be troublemakers. That's the AI Hub. The reason I wanted to mention, look, we're very blessed here in Durham. We have a lot of resources available to you if you want to work for someone or if you want to start your own business. But we also are very blessed to have Trent University, UIT, and of course Durham College. And right now Durham College is really kicking it on the AI side. So I've asked him to come out here today. It's funny, our talk yesterday was all about community. And that's really what attracted me to Town Brewery and Jeff, because I had an opportunity to sit with him. And it was an opportunity. But before I introduce Jeff, did anyone see that little episode of Bianca Andreescu, the tennis star? So she actually, as you know, just won a massive tournament. And the reason I'm mentioning this is she uttered 5 little words. She almost had given up, just like in business. But what happened is she sat down with her coach, she did a timeout, and you could hear the coach saying, trying to encourage her, and she said these 5 little words: I want this so bad. And I got emotional because that I want this so bad, she went out and she knocked out like one of the top players, and she won the tournament. So she went from a ranking of 300. The reason I wanted to mention this is, again, I'm not a tennis person, but it was very inspirational because you have a 19-year-old girl who just kicked it, and she kicked it up a notch. And that reminds me of Jeff. Where'd Jeff go? There he is. In the bar. None of seats. When I had the opportunity last week to talk with him, I got the impression that first of all he couldn't keep a job because he did so many different things. But then as soon as he found beer, he was in. So, but I did get the impression, and you'll hear from the introduction, he's all about the community, which is awesome, Town Brewery. But I also believe that he wanted this, along with his co-founders, really bad. Better beer, stronger community. Local is the direction the world is going. Consumers look for locally produced clothing, locally roasted coffee, locally grown produce, local service providers, locally made products, and so on. You get it. In this session, you will hear from Jeff Talmey, co-founder of Town Brewery, on how they're building their brand by brewing high-quality products, paying attention to detail, and focusing on local. Please, all the way from down the road here, Jeff Talmey.
My name is Jeff Talmey. As Frank said, I am one of the co-founders of Town Brewery, along with my good friend James Hobbs from the Tap and Tankard as well. And there are no secrets, though. I think in sales, in success, there's no new way to do anything. I don't have any secrets that you're just going to walk out and all of a sudden become successful. So you're not going to leave with a secret today. You're not going to leave with that. You might leave with a nugget of information, something that might allow you, or might bring something to your mind or your mindset that might improve the way that you're doing things. Or you might, the best part that you get out of this presentation today might be just the things that I've done wrong or we've done wrong, and you can avoid those things. So hopefully you leave with that. But really there's no new way to succeed is my belief. Work equals success. Hard work, smart work, equals success. It always has. I think it always will. There's nothing worth having that wasn't worth working for, if that makes sense. Yeah? All right, so now we got that out of the way. I was an 18-year-old kid who didn't really ever have to work for anything and didn't really know what he wanted to do. So what did I do? I went to business school, obviously, because business is what people do. That's what smart people do, so I'm going to go to business school. That lasted about a year and 2 months. The 2 months were just really, because I was like, you know what, this year I can do it. And I got there, I'm like, nah. So, the reason I'm telling you this is, it just didn't work out. I had an emotional couple of conversations with my mother, and I said, I'm leaving, I don't like it. And that's why I'm not trying, because I don't like it. Anyways, I left school, started working in a job actually in Whitby. I was working at Scotty's, if everyone knows Scotty's, it's kind of an institution in Whitby. Then I decided, you know what, I'm super passionate about cooking. I always loved cooking. My first jobs were in cooking from the age of 15. Well, I wasn't cooking, I was washing dishes, but anyways, I graduated to the very important role of line cook, fryer cook, really. Anyways, I'm like, I'm gonna go to cooking school. I'm gonna become a chef. I'm gonna be the next Gordon Ramsay without an accent. I'm not that much of a dick though. I would have been a much nicer Gordon Ramsay. Left cooking school, got into the cooking profession. Not for me. So got out of that, but again, opportunity knocked. I was always a very social person, so I talked a lot, talked to everybody. I was approached by somebody, a friend's dad, and he said, you can sell to people, you can talk to people, I can teach you the rest. And I'm like, tell me more. Talking to people's easy, that's something I'm interested in. So he was a regional director for Investors Group in Whitby, and he said, I can teach you everything you need to know. You're a smart guy, I know you can learn this, and the most important part of what we do is communicating with people and talking to people. And then I emailed him the next day, I'm like, we had this conversation, is this for real? He's like, yeah, come into the office and talk to me tomorrow. So I went in, worked at Investors Group for 7 years doing mutual fund and insurance sales. I was a very mediocre performer at that profession. For me, to be honest with you, and this isn't gonna like really build a lot of credibility for me, we're talking about being star performers. I never really have been. To be honest, I've always just like done what I needed to do and did all right, okay, a lot of the times good, but I was never a star. But I think the reason for that is I never knew what I really wanted to do. I knew that I could talk to people and I knew that I could sell to people, but there was nothing that I was really ever all that passionate about. And I'm just the type of guy who, like, if I don't really care, I'm not gonna really try. Does that make sense? It's not a good trait to have. It's not. But to be honest with you, I'm pretty sure it's pretty common, right? So what I really think is, for me, I always knew I was gonna own a business, but anybody who ever tells you that just your drive and your commitment to open your own business is the only thing that got you there, I think is a lie. I mean, it's a combination of incredible drive, really being passionate about something, and obviously the opportunity presenting itself. I'm not saying no one's done it without an opportunity presenting itself, but there's always that kind of outside factor. For me, it was my good friend James Hobbs. So James called me one day and said, I'm going to look at a property in Lindsay, I want to open a brewery. What? I'm like, all right, man, whatever. He's like, I won't do it unless you do it with me. I'm like, have you seen my bank account? Did you say buy a brewery or buy a beer? Anyways, the next day we were on our way up to this century-old building. And we looked at it like, this thing's amazing. Like, you know, we could have a hotel and we could have a banquet room and we could have a brewery. This would be great. Like, let's come back with somebody who knows construction. We did that, and that dream of that building quickly faded to nothing. In fact, though, funny enough, it actually has now turned into a brewery and just opened as, what's it called? Pie-Eyed Monk in Lindsay. So they just opened, and apparently they're doing fantastic, and the place looks great. So clearly they just got a little bit more dough than we did. But anyways, I kind of always knew I would own my own business. I never knew what for. But my sales career started. I learned that I liked sales a lot and that I was good at sales, and it became fairly easy to me. But like I said, I was never a star performer because I never really gave a shit what I was selling. And that's just being completely honest. When I moved into the beer business, I was like, man, this is really cool. I'm really enjoying this. But again, and this is working for Mill Street, it's like, I'm working my ass off, and I'm getting all these sales, and I'm building this business, and I'm really not seeing anything for that. So I left and I went to work for Diageo representing Guinness, and as Frank said, Johnny Walker and Smirnoff and Captain Morgan's, and bigger business, more on the line. But again, I was like, I missed that whole thing about craft beer. When I was working for Mill Street, they were still craft, and I felt like that was my kind of calling. So as I was finishing my days with Diageo and talking to James about building this business, I was like, I need to be in craft beer. This is my thing. But I need to own it. I need skin in the game, because if skin's not in the game, my extra effort won't be there. The biggest thing for me was coming outside of my comfort zone. I've always kind of, I heard this at a presentation one time, is the comfort zone is the most dangerous place that someone can be, but human nature causes us to stay within it. Most of the time to our detriment. When I worked as a financial advisor with Investors Group, it was very easy for me to kind of see, or in sales in general, how this takes effect and how it's very hard to change in your mind. Because what would happen is, like, I would grind, I'd be pounding the phones, I'd be handing out flyers, I'd be doing everything that I possibly could be doing to increase my sales that week, that month, that year. But then as soon as, like, things started going well, you start handing out less flyers, pounding the phones less, doing all the things that you need to do to increase business. So it's almost like your comfort zone's here. And let's say for me it was 40 to 60 grand a year. When I kind of started to fall below that, I would work my ass off to get myself back into that comfort zone. But it was almost like the opposite. When things started going too well, I was like, whatever, like, I'm good. I don't need to really work this month because I'm already kind of at my levels. I'm at my points. The thing for me is I've always been a comfort zone guy. And like I said, in high school, my comfort zone was 80 to 84. I didn't really care about 84 plus, and I really didn't like the reaction I would get from my parents with a 79 minus. But it was that comfort zone thing, and I've always stayed within that comfort zone. And I can't stand up here and say, you gotta get out of your comfort zone. That's stupid to say. You're the only person who can get you out of your comfort zone. And for me, it's like, it's not just something you decide, you know what, I'm gonna leave this room today, and I'm gonna get the hell outside my comfort zone. Like, that's not gonna happen. For me, it took 20, 30 years to find that one thing from a business perspective that would get me outside that comfort zone. And that for me was beer. My passion is beer. I'm not saying I drink it all the time. I'm not saying I don't drink it every day. but my passion is beer. I can talk about beer in ways that people wish their spouse could talk about them. I can sit and I could have done this entire presentation talking about one of our single beers at the brewery. I love it. There is nothing except for friends and family that I love more than beer, to be completely honest with you. Everything about it. The pour, watching it pour into the glass, cleaning the glass, pouring it into the glass, smelling it, looking at it, tasting it, picking out different flavor profiles and undertones and talking about it for hours, literally. The other thing I'm really good at, is not talking about beer whatsoever and just drinking it, because that's something that you have to be able to do as well. When I start talking about beer, I get excited. I can't stop it. The things that are going through my brain right now about beer, it gets me super, super excited. That didn't happen with me with whiskey. It didn't happen with me with lumber. It didn't happen with me with mutual funds or insurance. Those are things that other people get very, very excited about. I'm not saying they're not excited, but for me, that thing was beer. I love it. And it's not just the liquid in the glass. It's the community that it builds. It's the conversations that it starts. Craft beer is this totally unique kind of business where we all actually like each other for the most part. We're friends. You know, in not a lot of other businesses, do you send your customer to the next brewery down the road because you just had their beer last week and it's awesome, you gotta try it, right? That business to me is so unique. I don't know another business that it really works like that. When people, outsiders come into our business and we're doing things and saying things like that, they're like, are you insane? Why are you sending your customers to another supplier? I'm like, cause it's good. And you know what? At the end of the day, James and I always use this term. In a rising tide, all boats float. The more we can steal from the people who are drinking macro beer, yellow fizzy lagers, packaged for nothing and pretty much tasteless, the more that we can get people away from that beer and onto craft beer in general, the more chances at some point in their craft beer journey they're going to come to our brewery and enjoy our beer. The other thing about taking the leap and building our own business was we're very, very passionate about business. The best cook in the world doesn't make the best restaurant owner. The best brewmaster in the world doesn't make the best brewery owner. Just because you're passionate about something doesn't mean you'll be successful in owning a business doing that. You have to be very, very, very passionate about business. I would almost say more so than the actual product, but they're very, very close. I did number beer number 1, and I did number business number 2. That's the only slide with numbers. That is a ranking thing, if you're wondering. But you have to be. You have to be passionate about business, because if you're not, you won't do all the stuff that you have to do. You'll just do the stuff that you want to do. When we started the business, passionate about beer, passionate about business, let's start building this business and where are we going to take this. We thought, okay, what do we want to do? And we went through a brand key and we ended with a brand essence. And the things that we want, the essence of our business to boil down to is making better beer and building a stronger community. Better beer, what does that mean? We wanted to further the beer scene in Whitby, in Durham, in Ontario, in Canada, one day, by making better beer. We were never going to not make the best beer that we possibly could. We were never going to sell a product that we weren't proud of. Stronger community. We wanted to be an asset to the community. Again, we didn't want to just be taking advantage of the community and pulling them in and they're our customers and this is a transactionary kind of a business. No, we wanted to be entrenched in our community and we wanted to be providing value to our community rather than the community providing value to us. Does that make sense? Yeah. These legitimately are the only two things when somebody comes with an idea, whether it's should we hire this person, should we buy this product, should we get this supplier, should we make this beer, the only things that we ever ask are, is it helping us make better beer or is it helping us build a stronger community? If it does both, that's the best, but it has to do one. And most importantly, I can't say this enough, it has to be sincere. Your brand essence can't be something you don't actually believe and just something that sounds good and is trendy. If you don't care about your brand essence, you'll be in that comfort zone and you'll never come out of it, right? You really have to care and you really have to be sincere. With the amount of technology and the amount of access that people have to the ins and outs of every business, pretenders just don't last. You look like a fraud. You might be popular for a little while, but at the end of the day, your long-term success is not going to come. So let's go with the keys to our success. And as I said, these are not secrets. There are no secrets. All of these things, if you're all sales and business people, should be fairly not obvious to you, but none of these should be surprising. The number one thing that we talk about at the brewery, James and I all the time, our brewmaster and myself, all of our staff really, is never stop pushing. From our leadership team, our managers, our ownership. We had a staff meeting on Monday with our servers and bartenders, and the main message of that meeting was never stop pushing. I am the worst boss in the world because I'm never satisfied. I'm not. If someone comes in and they leave a Facebook review and it says 5 stars out of 5, best brewery experience I've ever had, I'm like, shit, we're gonna have to make it better next time. How the hell are we gonna do that? Number 2, our team shares our vision. If they don't, they won't last because they won't like it, but they have to share your vision. They have to understand what you're doing. If our brand essence is better beer, stronger community, we interview somebody and we ask them how they feel about giving back to the community or how they're involved in the community. They say, I don't really care about the community, whatever. We're not going to hire that person. They have to fit in with our brand. They have to fit in with our culture. They have to share our vision, because if they don't share our vision, then they're not really an asset to us, as kind of harsh as that might be to see. The other thing is we have 11 staff, right? If one of those staff, let's call it 10, if one of those staff aren't happy and don't share our vision, that's 10% of our staff. If 2, that's 20%. If 3, that's more than a quarter of our staff don't share our vision. As a small business, how are you going to succeed and how are you going to grow if 10, 20, 30% of your staff don't share your vision? Never waver. That's another thing. Never give in, never not do what you say you're going to do. I guess that might be the most important thing. Apart from anything, apart from me talking about how much I love beer in almost a weird kind of way, apart from all of these lessons and things to do and things not to do, if you do one thing, or if you take one thing from today, it's if you say you're going to do something, do it. Right? I mean, I think that's the most important thing that you can do as a salesperson. It's customer service, it's sales, it's business development, it's everything. If you say you're going to do something, do it. It's very simple. But never waver kind of plays into that is we say we're going to make better beer. So if we're not, if we're being pushed in a way to not do that, then we're not doing what we're saying we're going to do. And a quick kind of story on that is when we first opened the brewery, we underestimated the demographic that we were going to be pulling from. We decided that, you know what, we're in Durham. You know, it's craft beer is kind of booming everywhere, but it's really kind of advancing downtown Toronto and bigger metropolitan areas. In Durham, it's a little more behind. We're going to make a blonde ale to make sure that, you know, all these people who aren't really into craft beer quite yet can come to our brewery and enjoy our product. So we started making this blonde ale, and it was a good beer. There was nothing wrong with it. And we made it for about 2 months. It was pretty popular. It was, you know, it was the easy route. I think that was also something we were a little afraid of. It was the easy route. Somebody comes in, they go, I'm not really into beer, what should I drink? It's like, oh, here, have this one. It's our blonde ale. It's really easy drinking, yada, yada, yada. That's kind of lazy because we should have been educating them on something else. But anyways, that's, again, the tangent. It was a very successful seller, but every month at the end of the month, I would print out our sales reports. And on our sales reports, there's a staff beer section. And it's long. It's a long section, let me tell you. But never, other than say for like the first month, did Town Blonde show up on the staff drink section. And I'm like, we don't drink this beer. I never really cared for it if it wasn't flavorful enough for me. I'm like, nobody here likes this beer. Not that they don't like it, but it's not their first choice. I'm like, why are we making it? If we're not drinking it, we can't be that excited about it. If we're not that excited about it, we can't be representing it properly. So why are we doing this in the first place? One of the things is we had a licensee account, Billy Jack's, over at Thixton and Highway 2, and they were pounding through this beer. We sold them on this beer. We're like, it's going to come in, it's going to sell great. It became their top-selling craft beer in the bar. And then the day after, we had this conversation about how, I don't know if this fits in with our better beer mentality. We had to call them and say, we're going to stop making this beer. And they're like, what? You just sold it. I know we did. But trust me, we've got something better. So we axed that brand and we started to focus on the things that we were really, really passionate about. And the thing is hop-forward beers, flavorful beers, sour beers, those types of different things is what we're really passionate about. And we totally underestimated you guys because those are our top sellers. That's what people were coming in and buying. Anyway, so we stopped making the blonde. And at the end of the day, this one doesn't need much explanation, but treat people right. I've never been a guy who's the hard sell kind of guy. Maybe that's why I was never a star performer. But I've always been under the belief that you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. Be the nice guy. Nice guys don't finish last. That's bullshit. Nice guys, people like to deal with, and especially in sales. In life, people like to deal with the nice guy. People don't like to deal with the dick. The keys to failure, and I'll go through these quick. These aren't secrets, definitely aren't secrets, but keys to failure. Poor communication. I'm a terrible communicator. I say that at the beginning of every staff meeting that we have, I say, I'm a terrible communicator and I'm sorry, but I'm working on it. I'm doing my best. My wife one time, about a year or two ago, was reading this book on love languages. And I know, but don't worry, that whole period only lasted like a month, and then it was forgotten. She was on to like some other book. But love languages, but it did stick with me actually. She's forgot about it, but I haven't. Love languages, it's like people give and accept love in different ways. And it's not always the way that you give and accept love that they do. So it's like, we're all salespeople, we're all business owners. What are we motivated by? A lot of stuff, but one of them, I'm gonna guarantee you, is money, right? You reward a salesperson with a financial bonus, they will work hard. That is not the case for everyone. I know it's crazy to hear that, but there are people out there who are not motivated by financial reward. It's crazy, I know. Some of them just want recognition. Some people just want a gift, an act of affection. There's all kinds of these different ways that you can show your love back for someone doing their job really, really well. Don't evolve, that's a key to failure. Especially in the business that we're in, is one of the fastest growing businesses in, I would say, Ontario, Canada. Don't evolve, you will fail. And to follow up on don't be a dick, is key to failure is be a dick. Never forget, shit will happen. Suck it up because no one cares, figure it out. At the end of the day, we've had so many things break at the brewery, we've had so many things happen. We've had, so one of our most important pieces of machinery at the brewery is our chiller. It controls the temperature of our tanks. When beer is made and fermented, it has to be controlled. The temperature is very, very exact. That chiller has broken 3 times in the last 3 months. To fix it is not like, oh, flip the fuse. It's like vacuum suction all of the liquid out, let it sit for a day, put it all back in, yada, 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 let it cool down. Not an easy process. Guess who doesn't give a shit about that? The licensees, the restaurants and the bars that need their kegs the next day. They don't care. If you don't get the beer to them, they're gonna go buy it from someone else. You did not do this alone, so don't act like you did. I wouldn't be here without my mom, my parents, my wife, my kid, my boyfriend James. I wouldn't be here without any of them. There might be those, success stories where it was, all on your own, but hey, look back. It was maybe an elementary school teacher, high school teacher, somebody along the way made you who you are. Pay respect to them. Be awesome, know it, don't act like it. That is another one of our mottos around the brewery is, we know how great our beer is. Be confident of that, know that, have that mindset. Don't ever act like that. If I ever find somebody who's serving or talking about our beer, acting like they're the shit, that's a huge no for me. Find something you love to do and you'll never have to work a day in your life. Bullshit. That is so far from the truth. I have found something that I love to do. Going in and fixing the chiller for 3 days straight, that was work. So I've changed it. Find something you love to do and it'll make your inevitable success that much sweeter. If you love what you do, you will be successful. It doesn't matter. If you love it enough, you'll work hard enough to make yourself successful at it. At the end of the day is what's important. Find something you love, find something you want to do, find something that you'll do anything for. Find something that on your worst day you can wake up and you're fired up to go do it. Thank you everybody for coming, I appreciate it.